Hi there, dear Sag, to all of my sun, moon, and rising sign Sagittarius. This is your message for Cancer season. I am Ankhi Ma'at, Tonya Ankhi Ma'at Poole. I don't know what name you know me by, but this is your message for Sagittarius. Sagittarius for Cancer season. So no matter what your sun sign is, everybody's a Cancer, including you, dear Sag. It is Sag season, and I'm assuming if you're alive, that means that you're listening to this message during Cancer season, which means you're alive during Cancer season, which means Cancer energy is influencing you because you're living in it. Also, no matter what your sun sign is, Cancer is somewhere in your birth chart. And so there's wisdom and guidance that this season has for us all, no matter what our sun signs are. And so for Sagittarius, generally speaking, Cancer rules a place called the 8th house in astrology. Now, you may know your own personal chart and know that Cancer is somewhere else for you, dear Sag, but generally speaking, whenever we do, astrologers do readings for everyone in a particular sign, there's a science behind it. We can talk about it later. Anyway, but generally speaking, Cancer is in a place called the 8th house for Sagittarians. And especially if you are a rising Sag, it is definitely in the 8th house. But the 8th house is a place, it's a place of mystery, dear Sag. It is a place of, it's a very hidden place. It is a place that represents how you feel most vulnerable. It is the place that represents intimacy, even sex. Like the 8th house is a place that represents a lot of the things that we may do that is not for everybody to see, right? Even the 8th house can even deal with money, certain money matters, like money that is owed to you, money that you owe other people, taxes, debt. You know, the 8th house is a place of karma. So it's the place where certain chickens come home to roost, you know, whether for in your benefit or otherwise. I've seen people who had a lot of things going on in the 8th house. And sometimes that could be a time when like money that they owed that they forgot about or hadn't been paying, the bill comes due, or vice versa. Like they receive checks or settlements or tax refunds, things that they didn't think were going to come for them. And it came. It's like, wow, I got this money I didn't know about, right? And again, because the 8th house is a place of vulnerability in a way, is a place where all hidden things can be seen. So dear Sag, what does that mean for you for Cancer to be there? So Cancer is a zodiac sign that deals with nurturing, that deals with mothering, that deals with protection even. So dear Sagittarius, those things that are kind of 8th house related for you, whether it's your intimate relationships, and yeah, it could be relationships generally, but really the 8th house is more about the 7th house is about more relationships, but the 8th house is about what you doing in them relationships. You get what I'm saying? So this season for you, gosh, I'm stumbling over my words, but this season for you could really be about looking at all of the places where you find yourself most exposed or most vulnerable, and not necessarily in a bad way, but even in the most beautiful ways. Like if you're sharing your body with someone, right? Whether you in a relationship with them or this is a late night phone call come through situation, whatever that is for you, is still a part of you that is exposing yourself that is usually private in a very vulnerable way, right? You're allowing someone else to see the parts of you that other folks don't see. Even down to, I don't know why for this, in this moment, I'm also feeling led to say, like for some Sagittarius, it could be getting your finances together, right? So that might require you to pull like bank statements and things that, you know, everybody don't get to see. but you let your accountant see, right? There's a vulnerability there because now you're letting somebody else see every time you door dashed, all the expenses, all the, impulse buys, or even if it's not anything like that, even if it's just basic things. Now this person gets to see how much you pay in rent, how much you pay for your mortgage, how much, there's something very personal there. And there's something very vulnerable there that you wouldn't naturally just share with everyone. But in doing so, you get a handle on something. You become offensive instead of defensive. I think that's what the message is for Sag this Cancer season, because Cancer energy is about nurturing. It is about taking care of things. It is also about protecting that which is precious. So if you look at the symbol for Cancer, it's the crab, a hard shell with soft, tender meat on the inside, right? So dear Sag, what are all of the soft and tender parts of you that you would rather not expose and show to everybody? However, you may need to show and expose to someone who can help you to stay in the power seat, because the 8th house likes power. The 8th house would rather have folks owe them than for you to owe other folks. You know what I mean? The 8th house is a place where I would rather the government send you a refund check than do you owe money, right? And so how do you get ahead of that? How do you become in the offensive role instead of the defensive role? So that's what we're going to look at in the extended. I have to make a note of that. Offensive. Because what I'm going to do, dear Sag, I'm going to pull an oracle card to give us greater insight and wisdom into how you can utilize this season that we're in, since this is what the season is calling for you. How can you utilize the energy and the time that we're in Cancer season to get ahead? To get ahead, right? To get ahead, to get in the offensive instead of the defensive, so that even the things that you are most vulnerable about, you still have power there. Yes. So that's what we're going to look at in the extended. Ooh, child, I just ate a granola bar. So I'm like, anyway, dear Sag, if this has moved you in any kind of way and you want access to the extended, please go to the link that you see attached to this live, linktree/the Tonya Poole, and get access to the extended message for a very small love offering. It ain't much. So you can definitely go ahead and get access to that. Also get access to Portals to Power. It's my new e-course that really is the kind of like a gateway for those who are sitting like at the crossroads of their old self and ready to step into their more desired ideal self. That course is for you. And so Portals to Power, when you go to that sales page, I actually gave access to the full 30-minute prerequisite intro course, absolutely free, so that you can listen to it and decide if it is something that you like. If it is, then enroll in Portals to Power, because I would love to have you there. But in the meantime, go ahead and download your message for the extended message for Cancer season for you, because we will be looking at how you can stay in the offensive instead of the defensive, for all of the ways in which you might find yourself more vulnerable. And I'm using that word. Vulnerability to me is a word, is power, right? But you want to, stay in the power of it. So that is what the extended will be all about. So until we speak again, dear Sag, thanks for listening. I love y'all. Peace and love.